Grab your drinks and have a seat. It's time for serial killers.
Hello.
Hello.
We're here.
That we are.
It's Thursday. Maybe when you're listening to this, it's Thursday. And if you don't know who I am, I'm T.
And I'm Jay.
And we are your lovely couple who likes to talk about serial killers. You sound so enthusiastic to be here today.
Serial killer.
So we're a little tired. So just bear with Jay because he's a little tired today.
Been busy. We have been busy.
Well, we haven't been busy, but Jay had to travel for work this week. And so him and I literally just got home today. But we have to do our recording because we got a Disney trip into actually like one day. And then we're going to be gone. So
yeah, a little over a day.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing that. And then it's like we come back and then Christmas is right around the corner. And I got to focus on all those things. So
December flies by.
So we'll get this kicked off right. What are you drinking today?
Ooh, that is a great question. It is still cold and still raining outside. So I've stuck with a nice warm, aka hot, black tea with some sugar. What about you? What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking a gingerbread soy latte.
From Schmarbucks.
But I only have 2 pumps of gingerbread because I just can't do it. It's too sweet. It's just way too sweet. But we get our drinks as we left. I got my drink when we left to come home. So I'll be sipping on that. And to be honest with you, I think I'm going to change it to a grande. I mean, right now I do a grande. I think I'm going to change it to a tall because I feel like I don't ever finish the grandes anymore. I think it's just too much.
Yeah. Probably that's a lot of soy milk too. Like it's filling.
That's what I mean. I think it's the soy milk. I think I get full, and then the sugary part. Like the sugar doesn't get me so much because I only have 2 pumps. But I'm like, I just feel like every time I get a grande, I just can't finish it for some reason. So I think a tall. I'm gonna be one of those people. Ew, I'm gonna be one of those people.
Little one.
But I think though, if I'm gonna do that, I need to be drinking like regular coffee.
Yeah, because
like
there ain't no way.
No, like 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and then be like, oh, I'd like to get a Starbucks today. Let me go get a gingerbread soy, but I'll just get a tall. I always feel like the talls are not worth it, but whatever.
No, I hear you.
However, I do think if I went to Europe, I would not feel that way because I know that their lattes are a lot, like their espressos and stuff are better tasting, and they don't do as many big drinks, I don't think. I don't know.
And I think the tall, really not worth it when it is iced.
Oh, I agree with that.
Because you're like getting nothing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if I was going to do an iced latte, I would do I'd do an iced gingerbread latte, which I don't know if I like the iced soy as good, but I'm seriously tempted because I was thinking about when we go to, oh no, that's not going to be morning. Oh yeah, I was thinking about that because I was thinking about when we go to Disney, we get our coffees in the morning, and I was thinking maybe I should do an iced gingerbread soy latte in the mornings instead of doing the Americanos because I don't like the creamers of the Americano. I don't like my creamer options. And if I did that with the 2 pumps of, because I don't mind a soy ice latte, so I'm like, maybe I'll be okay with it.
Maybe you can get I was going to say, if you wanted to try it, you could do like a soy one tomorrow before we go.
Like an iced one just to see if I like it.
Just to see if you can, can handle it.
Maybe. But even then, if I can't, I'll do a tall. I'll just do a tall iced one that's totally not worth it.
And I'll be like, here are my
I'll be getting
3
one
small
shot.
children with me.
I'll be getting a 1 shot of espresso and some ice. Well, I did do iced tea last time, though. I did iced tea. We did our iced teas a lot. So anyways, we're not here just to talk about all the coffee that we drink in a day or iced tea. We actually have a purpose for this episode and for always our episodes, which is...
And what is that purpose?
To talk about serial killers.
And who is our serial killer today?
This one is interesting.
I like interesting.
Okay. I mean, actually, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I genuinely can tell you I've never heard of anybody doing this before. I've never heard of somebody murdering people this way before. So this is one for the books. This is one for the books. Now we are talking about Gilbert Paul Jordan. And I want to point out that 2 weeks in a row, we have literally talked about people who have triple first names. I just want to point that out.
Fun fact.
Gilbert Paul Jordan. And last week it was Lonnie David Franklin Jr. So Lonnie, David, and Franklin. And then Gilbert Paul Jordan. Okay. So anyways, his nickname is the Boozing Barber, or he's also known as the person who did the alcohol murders. His murder dates are 1965 to 1987. The location of his murders are Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. He has anywhere from 8 to 10 victims. His method of murder is alcohol poisoning. And his characteristics are alcohol and rape.
Wow. So you just get them so drunk they die.
Kind of. I'm not fucking playing. Kind of. That's exactly. I mean, genuine. When I first started researching, I was like, how is that? And then when you hear it, you're like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know. So anyways, we're just going to get into it. So Gilbert was actually born Gilbert Paul Elsie on December 12th, 1931 in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And this is where I stop. He literally, I have nothing. His childhood, I have no idea. I don't know his parents. I don't know if he had siblings. I don't know if he was abused. I know nothing. So we're going to skip forward to the age of 16 because that's where the information starts.
Well, okay, let's go.
My guess would be he might have had some shit that happened in his childhood. I'm just going to say that is my educated guess based off the fucking information I have. So he started at the age of 16. Now it is reported that by the time he is 16 years old, he is a full-blown alcoholic. Most 16-year-olds are not full-blown alcoholics unless they have some shit that they're trying to escape, right? Now, he is at this point reportedly drinking up to 3 bottles of vodka per day.
Whew, that is a lot.
I know. He does end up...
His liver be screaming.
At the age of 16? Right? Oh, my God. Listen, at 16, I was going to some parties, but I definitely wasn't drinking that much. No. Now, he does end up dropping out of school. Clearly, that probably is the best choice. And he does at one point start to do regular visits with prostitutes as well. So again, these are all the key signs that something might not have been quite right at home. His first arrest ever was in 1952. However, this was one of many. Oh, I forgot. This one does make me angry. I forgot how angry I am until right now. I was mad researching it. So I'm going to really try to keep the rant to a minimum, but you will find out why. But again, interesting, also pisses me off. So he is arrested in 1952. This is the first arrest of many arrests that he has. He is 21 years old, and he is actually convicted of car theft and impaired driving in Vancouver area. So he stole a car, was driving drunk, whatever. He also gets arrested different times for hit and run accidents, reckless driving, unlawful conduct of driving while under the influence. Okay, so just a lot of alcohol related things. Now in 1960, he racks up even more charges for indecent assault and abduction. And in 1961, he faces abduction charges after being found with a minor. They find a 5-year-old girl in his car, and he's never actually convicted. So this is just one. That's just one.
And any reason why he wasn't convicted?
Nothing. Nothing. All I know is that they, for whatever whether they pulled him over or whatever the reason was, when they went to him, they found this 5-year-old little girl in his car, and they arrest him for abduction charges, but they don't stick. Now, after Christmas in 1961, Gilbert actually threatens to jump off of the Lionsgate Bridge. Traffic is stopped for this until he actually gives up. And soon after this, he's in court, and I believe he was in court facing charges of some sort. not related to necessarily the jumping off the bridge thing. And he gets held on contempt charges because he's saluting Nazi style while he's in the court.
Okay, so he's just there's
Listen.
possibly a screw loose.
I'm saying, that's why I'm saying, like, an educated guess would tell me that something might not have been quite right in his home. So now in 1963, he is accused of rape. Now, he lures 2 women to his vehicle. However, he is only convicted of theft associated with this specific incident and never charged with rape. So that is now twice. Okay, that is now twice that he has had something very serious happen that he has not been charged for. Now he continues to have legal troubles. By the mid-60s, he has dozens of run-ins with the law, and each one of them produce minimal, if no, sentences. Do you see why I'm fucking angry?
So he's a habitual lawbreaker.
He is.
And
he continues to get off for whatever
learning
reason.
from it because he's not getting in trouble for it.
In 1969, he is actually charged with, again, they don't really say what it is, but he is charged twice in the same day with the same fucking crime, which I think had to do with alcohol. And again, a lot of his things are alcohol related. So my big thing, what makes me angry at this point is you didn't even require he goes to AA meetings. You didn't even take away his license. You didn't even do the bare fucking minimum to stop this guy who at the age of fucking 21 has been having basically drunk driving, reckless driving, all alcohol rate. You didn't do the basic bare minimum to stop him from doing that. He didn't go to jail. He's been caught with women that they claim that he raped them. They refuse to press charges. He's caught with a little girl that is claimed to be abducted, but yet he doesn't get charges. I don't understand. So in 1971, he is taken in for committing an indecent act in the public place. This was again dismissed. And you know what's crazy is this isn't even what really makes me mad. There's more. And there's more that makes me mad. This is just the very, very beginning of it. In 1973, he is now convicted of indecent exposure. So we now have a guy who has been accused of rape. He has been accused of abducting a little girl. He has had multiple fucking run-ins with the law for alcohol-related incidences. He has been brought in for committing an indecent act in a public place, and he's been brought in for indecent exposure. For those of you that don't know, indecent exposure is like showing your genitalia to people. Okay. 1974, he is convicted of indecent assault and is sentenced to 2 years. Now, indecent assault, from what I could read, it's basically like indecent exposure. But I think you physically touch somebody, or there's a little bit of a difference, but he finally gets convicted and he gets sentenced to 2 years. I'm like, Jesus.
Well, it's his first conviction.
Now the Crown, because we're talking about Canada here, the Crown, which is the people who are prosecuting him, they try to actually have him declared as a dangerous offender at this point because they're looking at his record and they're like, this guy is just progressively getting worse. He's going from, showing himself to people to now trying to act on that. He's an alcoholic, all these things. And the request is denied. In 1975, he abducts a woman from a mental institution. He is charged on several counts: kidnapping and conducting sexual intercourse with a feeble-minded person, which, by the way, I just have to say, that is the most fucked up thing to say. Conducting sexual intercourse. No, he raped her. He raped her. You're calling her a feeble-minded person, meaning she didn't have the wherewithal to say yes or no. She was fucking raped. Why don't we just say rape? He is sentenced to 26 months in prison. So 2 years and 2 months. After already serving 2 years for indecent assault. Okay. Now in 1976, he is examined by Dr. Tibor Bezzaretti, and this doctor actually ends up diagnosing him with antisocial personality disorder. He said that Gilbert was a person whose conduct was maladjusted in terms of social behavior and disregard for the rights of others, which often results in unlawful choices or activities. Correct. So I'm still not understanding what we're just not gonna, okay, no accountability. Clearly at some point in his life, since he's known as the Boozing Barber, he becomes a barber. Obviously, he becomes a barber, and he's actually a barber for like a really long time and ends up retiring from being a barber. Okay, like that's... Gilbert would look for women in bars, and he usually would pick up Indigenous women who were alcoholics, and he would buy them drinks. He would pay them for sex, and he would ask them to go back to his room with him and drink some more. And then once the women were completely blacked out from drinking too much, as always happens if you drink too much, normally at that point you like pass out, right? Because like there's like a certain percentage, alcohol percentage, that your body just can't really function anymore and you pass out. But that's normally like right before you get to the alcohol poisoning stage, and you just sleep it off. That's what these women would do. They'd get to that stage. And then what he would do is he'd wait till they were passed out, and then he would proceed to pour more alcohol directly down their throats as they were passed out. Again, never heard of such a thing.
No.
Never heard of such a thing. So the women's deaths that he killed, they were all of them that he killed were reported as alcohol poisoning. All of them, which means they all had a high enough alcohol percentage to be considered that was their cause of death. Which, of course, leads the police to really not pay attention to the deaths very much in the beginning, because these are all Indigenous women who drank a lot already. So they already were like, well,
they're alcoholic. It was bound to happen.
Exactly. Same old alcoholics, sex workers. Guess it's just the way it is. Like, that's the whole thing. And I will say, I'm not bashing on Vancouver, BC, but I will say, it might have actually been one of our episodes, but it was either us or Crime Bitches. I did another episode on somebody, and one of the big problems that they found, and it was in Vancouver, is that the person was, it had to have been us because it was a serial killer. The person was picking Indigenous women, and for some reason in this time frame, Indigenous women, like hundreds and hundreds of Indigenous women went missing, and they never were reported as anything. So that probably also has something to do with it. Now, Gilbert's first victim, his first known victim, was Ivy Rose in 1965. Now, she was a switchboard operator, and she had met Gilbert one night while they were like at a club or whatever. Not maybe at a bar, not a club. And he asks her like, hey, come back to my hotel. Let's go, let's party. To which she's like, sure. Well, she is found naked, and she is dead, and she has an alcohol level of 0.51.
Damn.
Now, for the record, for everybody who doesn't know, alcohol poisoning that can cause death starts at 0.4. So she was 0.51. Okay, so she was like 0.11 higher than what would have already caused death.
0.08
I was just going to say
like
that.
For here where we live is the legal limit.
Yes, the legal limit to drive is 0.08, which you are allowed to drive. And that is like the equivalent to like 2 shots or something. And you can drive because it doesn't inhibit your abilities. But here's another representation, basically. If you chug 12 beers, like one after another, like in an hour, basically, that would give you about a 0.3 alcohol level. And she was at a 0.51.
Jeez.
And most people black out at a 0.3 alcohol level. I would say the only people who probably don't are people who have a tolerance to alcohol, but like an average person who doesn't, who's just out drinking, having a good time, or just most people in general, 0.3 is that blackout phase. 0.4 is the death phase, right? So he would get them to the 0.3 and then continue. And that tells you how much extra alcohol he gave her.
Yeah.
And again, people are like, but she's blacked out. It doesn't matter if she's blacked out. If he's pouring alcohol down their throat, it's going down their throat. They're blacked out.
So still going into the bloodstream.
Yes.
Like everything.
So after a few days after Ivy is murdered, Gilbert actually applies to change his name, and it is approved. And he goes from Gilbert Paul Elsie to Gilbert Paul Jordan. So he only changes his last name. Now, here are some other women that he is suspected of killing with alcohol poisoning. The thing is, I say suspected because he's denied killing these women. He's denied everything. On November 30th of 1980, Mary Johnson, she died at the Aylmer hotel, and her blood alcohol level was 0.34. September 11th, 1981, Barbara Paul. She died at the Glenard Hotel, and her blood alcohol level was 0.41. On July 30th of 1982, Mary Johns died at the barber shop that Gilbert worked at. Her blood alcohol level was 0.76.
Wow.
December 15th, 1984, Patricia Thomas, she died at the barber shop that Gilbert worked for, and her blood alcohol level was 0.51. On June 28th, 1985, Patricia Andrew was also killed at the barber shop that Gilbert worked for, and her blood alcohol was 0.79. I mean, at some point, you'd think they'd be like, why are 3 women dying at a barbershop?
With extremely
With
high
really
blood
high-
alcohol
right.
levels.
On November 19th, 1986, Vera Harry died at the Clifton Hotel, and her blood alcohol level was 0.4. On October 12th, 1987, the naked body of Vanessa Lee Buckner is found on the floor of the Niagara Hotel, which also, oh man, that makes me think.
I know.
She had been drinking with Gilbert, and his fingerprints were actually found all over the hotel room, so they know that Gilbert was in that hotel room. Her blood alcohol was never found, but they definitely know that she was drinking with Gilbert the night before she died. Then in November of 1987, a woman named Edna Shade was also found in a hotel under the same circumstances, just in a different hotel room. And again, it was known that Gilbert had been with her the night before. So the police at this point are kind of like, well, again, they're not linking these all together. I'm going to be very honest. At first, they are not like, oh my gosh, this Vanessa woman and this Edna woman and these Patricia, they're not linking any of them together.
No, because like what you said in the beginning, that they're probably not thinking
Right.
that somebody is force feeding them alcohol
Right.
to kill them. Because who does that?
Well, because nobody fucking does that. That's why. I'm telling you, that's the weirdest shit. Anyways, so the police do question Gilbert about Vanessa Buckner, specifically because they knew that he was in the hotel room with her the night before. They knew it from fingerprints. I'm sure they had people who could recognize him, and so they talked to him. And he's not charged with anything. Like, they don't come up with anything to charge him. However, after having the conversation with him, they start to get a little suspicious. So whatever their conversation was, however it went down, for some reason they start to get a little suspicious about Gilbert, and so they decide they're going to surveil him.
Probably because he was drunk.
No shit, probably. So they started surveilling him between October 12th of 1987, because again, remember, she was killed October 12th of 1987. So as soon as they talked to him, they were like, something's real weird. So from that point on, they started to surveil him, and they surveilled him until November 26th, 1987. But tell me how fucked up it is. They were surveilling him, and Edna Shade died under their surveillance then.
They weren't very good at it, apparently.
Oh, they were fucking terrible at it, and here's why. As a result of them surveilling him, they did end up saving 4 women. Okay? So, Rosemary Wilson, on November 20th of 1987, she was at the Balmoral Hotel, and she did survive. She was saved, and she had a blood alcohol level of 0.52. Then there was Verna Chartrand on November 21st, 1987 at the Pacific Hotel. Her blood alcohol level was 0.43. Then Sheila Joe on November 25th, 1987 at the Rainbow Hotel. They didn't actually list what her blood alcohol level was, but they did rescue her. And Mabel Olson on November 26th, 1987 at the Pacific Hotel. And again, her blood alcohol level was not known, but they did rescue her. And before you ask, no, I do not fucking know why the hell they had 4 fucking women that they had to rescue when they probably could have fucking caught him after the first one.
Yeah, like how much more evidence do you need?
When I started,
Circumstantial.
This is what I'm talking about. So you're fucking telling me you're surveilling him. Okay, you're surveilling him. And you catch him with a woman, And for some reason, I guess after he leaves the hotel or whatever, you go to check on the lady and she's basically dying. And you're like, well, okay, really? That's where you're going to fucking sit with this? You're going to keep watching him do this to 4 women. And then on top of it, he kills somebody else in November?
Well, and you save these women, but they still had to go through the ordeal.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I don't understand. Like, it's like, okay, what kind of evidence were you looking for? That's 5 women. 4 that lived, 1 died. Under your surveillance time. How many more fucking things did you need? You already suspected him of the murder of Vanessa Buckner. All you needed was to literally physically see or hear him force alcohol to women at any point, and that should have been enough. But you made him do that motherfucking shit 5 times before you arrested him.
Well, we had our dinner breaks for surveillance.
The investigators do end up gathering enough information that they do finally make an arrest on him. And they actually end up only charging him with manslaughter. Manslaughter. Do you know what manslaughter is?
It's a way lesser charge.
Manslaughter is accidental death, meaning you did not fucking mean to do it.
We were just drinking. I didn't know they were going to die.
So they charge him with manslaughter in the death of Vanessa Lee Buckner. And the prosecution brings evidence forward that basically says, like, listen, he didn't just do this to Vanessa. He did this to Rosemary. He did this to Verna, Sheila, Mabel, Edna. They bring up Patricia, the other Patricia. They bring up all the women that he has had contact with that died because of alcohol poisoning. And they're like, this is not a fucking accident. Like, he didn't do this on accident. And one of their big points is they were like, if it was so accidental, why did so many women die? That's a lot of women that have died with him, right?
Fair point. In the exact same way.
In the same exact way. Now, he is found guilty of the manslaughter charge of Vanessa Lee Buckner. And this, my friends, is where I get very angry. And by the way, this is not the United States, which I would expect. I would expect from the United States. He is actually given a 15-year sentence. Great. Gilbert now appeals this sentence, and it is reduced to 9 years. And in the end, he actually only served 6. 6 years for killing Vanessa. Fucking 6 years. And also never admitting to it. Never taking accountability. Now, when he is released from prison after his serving his only 6 years, he is placed on restrictive probation. So what this means is that he had to stay on Vancouver Island and was not allowed to leave. So basically like regular probation. Like you just...
Yeah, basically stay here and find your women and kill them.
Yeah. However, what do we know about Gilbert? Gilbert doesn't learn his lesson. So in June of 2000, he is actually charged with sexual assault, administering a noxious substance, which happened to be alcohol, and negligence causing bodily harm. Now, during the same year, he also tried again to change his name. And he wanted to be called now Paul Pierce. That's what he wanted to be called. However, he ends up dropping his application because he finds out that they want him to provide fingerprints or do a criminal background check on him to be able to change his name. And he said, never mind, which right there is how I fucking know this was an accident.
Yep.
Because he literally got charged with all these things. And he was like, well, I'm going to change who I am. That's how you fucking know. And he knew, like, wanted to change his name and then decided not to do it because he had to provide something which would show who he was. Now, in 2002, he's arrested for a probation violation. He's caught drinking alcohol with a woman, which he is completely forbidden to do.
Probably both of those facts.
He gets 15 months in prison and 3 years probation for that. Y'all understand how fucking mad I am? It should have been, you go back for 15 motherfucking years, bro. Because you literally are on probation for killing a woman. That you got your sentence reduced all the way down to you went 6 years in prison. No, bitch, you go back now for 15.
Yeah.
But he gets 15 months instead. Then in 2004, he's out of prison again, and he is arrested on August 11th of 2004 for again violating his probation. He was at a York hotel in Saskatchewan on August 9th, and he is drinking with Barb Berkeley. Again, he's not allowed to drink with women.
He probably isn't even allowed to drink.
No, I don't think he was supposed to drink at all, but he was not allowed to drink with women.
Right.
That was very clearly stated in his probation. Now, she is a resident of this hotel, and she also had a very serious drinking problem. So this was, his prime target. Now, one of her friends actually finds her passed out in this hotel and takes her to the hospital. Well, when she's at the hospital, she's telling them that, yeah, she was there and her friend Gilbert was there. And she says, yeah, I saw him there, like whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and whatever. Tell me why he never got charged for that.
So there's no proof.
What the fuck? What do you mean there's no proof? She's fucking sick. First of all, she didn't die. So just ask Barb. Second of all, Barb's friend is the one who brought her to the hospital as fucking Gilbert's sitting there watching her die. And you don't want to charge him for nothing? He gets no charges?
She's probably like, hey, she wouldn't stop drinking. I was just sitting here.
July 6th of 2006, Gilbert dies. Now, there's no listed reason for his death, but he was 74 at the time and also a severe alcoholic, so I'm honestly surprised.
Cirrhosis of the liver.
I'm surprised he lived that long, to be honest
no
with you.
kidding.
I'm surprised. He lived to be 74.
If he was doing 3 bottles a day when he was 16, like, that's crazy.
No, and he drank all the time. Like, all the time.
Except for the times he was probably in jail, which wasn't very
No, he didn't go
often.
to jail. He went to jail like a total of 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 years total in his whole fucking life since the age of 21.
And only got convicted for one.
Only got convicted for one murder. That is the story of Gilbert Paul Jordan. Ideas and shots.
I definitely want to hear those.
Okay, so during his trial, Gilbert actually says, and I quote, "Sober people wouldn't go out with me, so I didn't have much option. I didn't want to drink in my room all by myself." That's why.
That's not an excuse, but okay.
Here's where I get the most angry. Okay.
Oh, not yet.
No.
We're still working on that, huh?
Here's where I get the most angry. During the police surveillance time, they had reported on several different occasions that they heard things. Again, they let 4 women almost die and let 1 die on their surveillance, and this is what they heard. And they didn't think this was enough to arrest him after the first time. So they would hear him say things like, "Have a drink down the hatch, baby. $20 if you drink it right down. See if you're a real woman. Finish that drink. Finish that drink. Down the hatch. Hurry. Right down. Do you need another drink? I'll give you $50 if you can take it. I'll give you $10, $20, $50, whatever you want. Come on. I want to see you get it all down and get it right down. I'll give you $50 and the $13. I'll give you $50. I told you that. If you finish that, I'll give you $75. Finish your drink. I'll give you $20. So they have multiple times where he's literally telling these women to continue to drink, continue to drink, continue to drink, continue to drink, even at times when they no longer are responding. Not all of this right here, at the minimum, he should have been arrested for, because he was also paying them for sex. At the minimum, they should have arrested him for that.
For something.
But again, you already have your ideas of what he's doing. You already know that that he's drinking with people and they're dying under his watch. And you don't think that that's important information. Then on February 3rd of 2005, so remember, he gets released and, goes out into the world. Well, when he gets released, the police release a statement about him. And their statement was literally warning the public about Gilbert. And they're basically saying, like, do not drink with him. Do not associate with yourself with him. They described who he was. They said his age. He was 73 at the time. Which also, by the way, he was 73 at the time and he's still doing all this. Like, damn, son.
Yeah.
So they describe who he is. They say what he does. They're telling women, do not go drink with him. Do not hang out with him. If he approaches you, this is what he looks like. Do not go with him. Now, Gilbert was actually the inspiration for the first several episodes of the Da Vinci's Inquest show, which actually was filmed in Vancouver, BC. And I guess the first couple of episodes was about a guy who was like a serial killer who used alcohol. And so he was what inspired that. Because again, I've never heard of somebody using alcohol to kill people.
No, never.
And you will not ever be able to tell me that he did it accidentally. Not to that many women and not that many times. And again, to pour alcohol down their throat after they were passed out, that's not an accident anymore. That is you trying to get them. I don't know. Now, I don't know if his total end goal was to kill them. I don't know if that's what his total end goal was, or if he was just so drunk that he just felt like he'd keep making them drink. I don't know. But no way in hell was it an accident that he gave them so much alcohol. There's no way. And the final piece of shot that I have, is Vanessa Buckner, the one he did get charged with. Her father said it best. And I quote, "He's a worm. He's a lowlife. He should be squashed, just as he squashed a lot of girls' lives."
Agreed.
And I'm like, sir, absolutely. Like 150%. So anyways, that's Gilbert.
That one's definitely interesting. I mean, the whole giving them alcohol, like I'm sure at the time there's loopholes and, well, I never forced them to drink. They drank
I'm sure
it on their own,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah,
yeah.
blah.
But even if anything, you couldn't charge him with 8 manslaughters? You couldn't fucking charge him with 4 counts of attempted fucking manslaughter?
Something.
You couldn't charge him with anything? You had 4 women that you literally saved their life because of him, and you couldn't charge him with anything?
Right.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
And a woman died while you were surveilling him. Where is that? Where is that charge?
Oh, no, that's called covering their asses.
I just don't get it. Like, that is the fucking, this one, that's why I get so frustrated, because I'm like, this is one of those cases where I can understand, sure, maybe not connecting all the other women. But you had him under surveillance for literally a month and a half. And in that time, you saved 4 women and 1 woman died. And none of those brought charges against him. The only charge you brought was for the murder, and it's a fucking manslaughter of the woman that started this whole thing. How is that a thing? How did you not take these women? I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. So I'm not clear on why they didn't charge him with anything else. That is one thing that I will not understand is you didn't charge him with hardly anything. You could only charge him with manslaughter. In my personal opinion, it makes me feel like the prosecuting attorneys or whoever they wanted an open and shut case. That's what it kind of sounds like to me. So instead of trying to get charges for the 4 women that, he had obviously gave them way too much alcohol.
We'll get him for the 1, and maybe that'll teach him his lesson.
I don't even, well, and then again, he served 6 years for that. Fucking, and to be fair, let me make it clear. That is a manslaughter charge. I mean, manslaughter charges are typically no more than probably about 15 years. And a lot of times manslaughter people do get out earlier than that. And I'm actually not against that because most of the time manslaughter is unintentional. It means
But it should have been multiple.
Right. And it does mean that somebody was killed unintentionally. And that could be him. He could have literally killed this woman unintentionally. But he didn't just do it to 1.
Yeah.
He did it to at least 2 for sure that they know. At least 2 for sure, because 1 died under their surveillance. So where the fuck was that?
Yep.
And then you have the 4. I don't understand how you don't charge him with attempted anything.
That they die in
for those 4
his
women.
barber shop.
Yeah, and the fucking 3 that died in his barbershop.
Like
you couldn't link that shit
mind
together.
too.
Like you couldn't bring forward that information and say, well, here's the thing. These women died under the same exact circumstances as Vanessa Lee Buckner, and these were actually at his place of work.
And if you want to play stupid, 2 could be a coincidence, but not 3.
No, I can't. But again, I guess if you really want to get technical, that's a really smart way to kill people because it's probably really hard to prove that you purposely killed somebody with alcohol because he specifically chose alcoholic women.
I mean, the difference now maybe is they might be able to show because, I mean, you got to force their mouth open to pour it in. So nowadays they might be able to be like, oh, there's bruising here and here. So her mouth was forced open. But the technology back then... I mean,
not me. Shit, I sleep with my mouth open.
I know,
if
right?
I pass out, my mouth is wide open anyways. Don't be forcing no alcohol down my throat, son.
Better keep your eye open. Anyways,
it is frustrating. It's very frustrating because it's an older case, so it's like whatever. But it's frustrating because and again, he died, so he's not alive. But it's one of those things where it's like I just don't feel that the justice was not served in this case at all.
Absolutely not.
I think Vanessa Lee got a very tiny little bit of some sort of justice. I can't even say it's justice because it's not. Her family got a little bit of closure maybe from it, but the other women did not. And again, those 4 women, I cannot understand the surveillance thing. To allow 4 women to almost die, allow 1 to die, then you finally say you have enough to convict him of something, and you don't even use what you collected from those surveillances to fucking get him on charges for that.
And I'm gonna say this. We've talked about it in the past when it comes to like prostitutes and stuff like that, how the police act towards them.
And don't forget, these are most of them were indigenous women as well.
That's what I was going to bring up because there has been things that have been found over the last couple of years in Canada around the indigenous community.
Yep.
And so at that time, it would not have surprised me that they maybe didn't take it as serious because
agree.
it was
I
indigenous
totally
women.
100% think that is a big reason.
Which is makes
it
even worse.
Horrible.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. It just blows my fucking. This is why in the world that we live in, it's like, God, the accountability thing, like, y'all should be held accountable for being shitty detectives, and y'all should be accountable for not doing your damn job because that's unacceptable.
Yep.
Period. So, anyways, I told you, this is again, like, what the fuck? What are we finding, though? As I continue to do, especially with serial killers, I've come to realize quite a bit of them have had multiple chances, and they've been let out of prison. They've been found guilty on things and not arrested. They've not been punished. Like, there's quite a bit that,
that's probably what kind of brings on the attitude of I can get away with this. Cause
sure. You're going to continue until you can't, Yeah.
Anyways.
Well,
we're going to continue. We're going to continue doing this every week. And we're going to continue to bring this to you guys. As long as you want it, we're going to keep doing it. So smash that like button. Follow us. If you haven't, if you are, thank you from the bottoms of our hearts. And share us. That's all we can ask for.
True
and
story.
We'll continue to do this.
True story. So for one last time, thank you so much for listening to me tell you the story about Gilbert Paul Jordan, the Boozing Barber. Until next week, goodbye.
And I'll hit you with the bye-bye.
Remember to lock your doors and bar your windows. Until next time.